1 in 5 children and young people have a probable mental health condition.
A recent study reveals a significant rise in those being diagnosed with eating disorders. So our parenting expert, Dr. Sheryl Ziegler, joins us right now to talk about that specifically, because that 1 in 5 we were just discussing, mental health, that's one thing that doesn't shock you as much. But this report is pretty significant. It's from the University of Cambridge, and it's a survey, right, that there were some high numbers.
Yeah, they had last done this study in 2017, and that's when they saw this big spike in depression and anxiety that we've unfortunately all become more accustomed to. But now these updated numbers show this big spike in eating disorders, of course, specifically for women, but still an increase overall for men as well. And we're talking about young men, so about the age categories of 17 to 25.
Well, anxiety and depression and then eating disorders, do we think that the eating disorders are offshoots of anxiety and depression, or are they just part of the mix? I'm trying to understand the relationship.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So eating disorders are oftentimes a big mix of things. A lot of times you see self-harm involved. You also see definitely anxiety involved, and oftentimes depression, low self-esteem. And so there were some interesting factors that also were in the study, like if you were bullied, you had a greater chance of having this diagnosis. And also they looked at if your family, so this was for 8 to 16-year-olds, if the families did not have enough money to send them to after-school activities, they were also more likely to be diagnosed. And then 17 to 25-year-olds, if they didn't have money to socialize with friends, so again, like kind of that extracurricular piece, there was also a higher probability that they would have this mental health diagnosis. So
there's a big social component to all of that.
There absolutely is. And the social connection, as we've talked about so many times, is such a mental health protective factor. So if you don't have that socialization, it seems like at no matter what the age, you are more susceptible to mental health disorders.
So we're coming into a month where people are going to be gathering. Maybe some relatives would see somebody they haven't seen in a while, or a child comes back from college. If you're that parent that's worried something's going on, or family member, what do you do?
Yeah, so that's the first thing I want to point out. If you're worried, you're almost even a step ahead. A lot of times this kind of stuff, eating disorders or disordered eating, is happening, and it's actually really difficult to spot. But there are some signs, things like, somebody saying they're easily full where they didn't really maybe eat that much food, avoiding social situations in which people are eating, shuffling food around the plate, going to the bathroom immediately after they eat. These are some of the bigger warning signs that, again, I understand if people miss them, but if you've got any inkling that it might be going on, pay attention. And if you need to confront somebody about it, that means doing it really very gently, very lovingly, and really seeking out professional help from somebody who knows how to deal with, assess treatment disorders.
Yeah, it feels like one thing that is happening to some regard is that we're dropping some of those stigmas away that make it easier for people to get involved, to pay attention, to get help. It seems, and sometimes you just say, "Oh, the whole world's nuts," but they recognize anxiety, depression, and eating disorder. You might see it, not think of it as being odd. It's somewhat normal.
Absolutely, and one of the lead researchers on this study actually said, this study does not indicate that people are just reporting this more, it actually indicates that there is a greater need for actual treatment. So sometimes people also ask that, are we just asking more questions and getting more data? And I think researchers are really saying, no, that's not really the case.
Yeah, and we know there's not enough people to treat the problem alone. So, all right, that's a good advice for everyone, and hopefully people keep their eyes and ears open. Thanks, Dr. Ziegler, as always.